There's something very different about A-Train's death, not just because he dies, but because of who it affects the most. Homelander. And that alone already tells you this isn't just another kill in the boys. Because let's be honest, Homelander has killed a lot of people. Friends, teammates, strangers, it doesn't matter. And most of the time, he feels nothing. But A-Train, that one hit him. And the real question is, why? If you look closely at episode 2, there's a moment that says everything. Homelander standing over A-Train's casket, talking to him. Not like a leader, not like a god, but like someone who actually believes he lost. Family. He calls himself A-Train's big brother. He wonders if he was too forgiving. He even says A-Train wasn't like the others. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because from our perspective, that's not what their relationship looked like at all. Homelander didn't treat A-Train like a brother. He controlled him, threatened him, constantly reminded him who was in charge. But in Homelander's mind, that was love. That's the core of his character. His version of love is completely warped. To him, loyalty equals love. Obedience equals respect. And if you stay by his side, you're family. But the moment you step out of line, you're a traitor. No in between. So when A-Train finally turns on him, Homelander doesn't see growth. He doesn't see redemption. He sees betrayal, personal betrayal. And that's why it hurts him more than any other death. Because deep down, Homelander believes he treated A-Train well. He genuinely thinks he cared about him, which makes A-Train's final rejection feel even worse. And that brings us to A-Train himself, because his death only works because of the journey he went through. Think back to the very beginning, Season 1. A-Train wasn't just another flawed hero. He was one of the worst. He killed Huey's girlfriend Robin in the very first episode and barely even reacted. No remorse, no accountability, just moved on. And for a long time, it felt like that moment defined him forever, like there was no coming back from it. But what the boys did with A-Train's character was something really rare. They didn't rush his redemption. They didn't suddenly turn him into a hero overnight. Instead, they let him struggle. They showed us every moment where he could have done the right thing and didn't. Every time he chose fame, chose safety, chose himself. Even when there were small signs he wanted to change, he always pulled back. And that's what made it feel real, because redemption isn't clean, it's messy, it's slow, and most of the time it's uncomfortable. The turning point really stops seeing him as untouchable, when his image starts to crack. And more importantly, when someone like MM finally gets through to him. That connection matters, because MM doesn't just hate A-Train, he forces him to confront what he's done. And once A-Train starts facing that truth, he can't ignore it anymore. You see it in the smaller moments first, like when he helps MM during a panic attack. That scene doesn't look huge on the surface, but it is. Because for once, A-Train isn't thinking about himself. There's no spotlight, no reward. He just helps. And from there, everything builds, slowly, carefully, until we get to Season 5. By this point, A-Train isn't the same person anymore. He's still flawed, still hesitant, but he's trying, really trying. And that's why his final moments hit so hard, because they bring everything full circle. The chase scene is the perfect example. A-Train running, Homelander right behind him. It feels familiar, like we've seen this version of him before. Running to survive, running to escape consequences. But then something changes. A civilian steps into the road, and suddenly, this isn't just a chase anymore. It's a choice. Because this exact situation already happened once, back in Season 1 with Robin, and back then, A-Train didn't hesitate. He ran straight through her, didn't even try to stop. But this time, he chooses differently. He avoids her, he risks everything to save her. And in doing that, he loses his advantage. He falls. And that's the moment everything catches up to him. Homelander finally reaches him, and what follows isn't just a kill, it's a confrontation. Because Homelander doesn't just want him dead, he wants answers. He wants to understand why A-Train turned on him, why someone he thought was loyal would betray him. But A-Train doesn't back down, not anymore. For the first time in their entire relationship, he's not afraid. He tells Homelander exactly what he thinks, calls him pathetic, empty. And that's what really breaks Homelander. Not the betrayal, not the rebellion, the fact that A-Train isn't scared anymore. Because fear is the one thing Homelander relies on. It's how he controls everyone. It's how he defines relationships. But when that fear disappears, so does his power over you. And in that moment, Homelander realizes something he can't accept. A-Train sees him for what he really is, so he kills him. But even then, it's not just anger. There's something else there: frustration, hurt, even a twisted kind of sadness. And we've seen this before with Black Noir. When Homelander killed him, he wasn't just violent, he was emotional. That's the pattern. Homelander destroys the people he thinks he cares about because he doesn't know how to handle losing control over them. And now, he's more alone than ever. A-Train is gone, Black Noir is gone, Maeve is gone, Starlight is gone. The people he once saw as family are either dead or against him. And that isolation is pushing him further into instability, further into desperation, because Homelander doesn't just want power. He wants connection. He wants to be understood. That's why he clings to the idea of someone like Soldier Boy, someone who might actually relate to him. But the truth is that connection will never happen, because real connection requires vulnerability. And Homelander replaces vulnerability with control. Which brings us to the bigger picture of Season 5. A-Train's death isn't just emotional. It sets the tone. Because if the fastest man alive can't escape Homelander, then no one is safe. Not Huey, not MM, not Frenchie. And that's exactly what the show wants you to feel. Tension, uncertainty, real stakes. Killing A-Train in the premiere was a deliberate choice. Not too early, not too late. His story was complete. His redemption arc had reached its peak. And because of that, his death means something. It also avoids taking out a core member of the boys too soon, while still showing that Homelander isn't holding back anymore. He let the others live for a reason, to draw them out, to break them slowly, which makes what's coming next even more dangerous, because taking down Homelander was never going to be easy. And now it's clear. It's going to cost lives. A lot of them. But here's the most important part of A-Train's story. He didn't die the same person he was in Season 1. He died a hero. Not because people called him one, not because of fame, but because of one choice. He chose to save someone else, even when it meant losing everything. And in a show like The Boys, that kind of ending, it matters. Because it proves something, even in a world full of corruption, power, and fear. People can still change, even someone like A-Train. And for Homelander, that change is exactly what he can't understand. Which is why A-Train's death doesn't just hurt him, it pushes him one step closer to completely breaking. And when that finally happens, it's not just going to affect him, it's going to affect everyone. Because the scariest version of Homelander isn't the one who wants control. It's the one who realizes he'll never be loved and decides to burn everything because of it. If you want next, thumbnail text, viral CTR, SEO description, high-ranking tags, just tell me.